Thank you for joining us for another story of our 2010 AT through hike. Actually, 3 weeks from today we'll be on the Ozark Trail, and then roughly 5, 6 weeks from now we'll be on the AT to do our fifth through hike. But we made it to Pennsylvania, and we're hiking with Nana and Bird, and also we started hiking with Tequila, Tillerman, and Kutza, and some amazing things that happened and some scary things that happened in Pennsylvania. The first one was once we got into Pennsylvania, we decided we wanted to hitchhike into town every day to see what the town was like since we'd never been there. And it seemed like every time we'd hitchhike into town, we'd get the most amazing trail magic. One guy gave us a ride 25 miles in, went through the Hardee's drive-through, ordered like $30, $40 worth of food. And when we got there, we handed him our card, and he said, "Your money's no good here in this truck." And we argued with him, but he said, I'm buying it. And then he gave us a ride back to trail. But every night we'd go into camp, and Tequila and Tillerman and them would be there, and I'd say, "You'll never guess what happened today." And I'd tell them the amazing trail magic we got. And after about the third night, because this happened like 3 or 4 times in a row, as soon as I walked into camp, Tequila looked at me and said, shut up, I don't want to hear nothing about it." Just remember that story, because a long round Hanover, I've got an even better one. But then the amazing thing was we got slack packed. We actually called Nanner, and he was in Allentown, Pennsylvania. He said, "Yeah, you can come stay with me, and I'll slack you from Port Clinton all the way to Delaware Water Gap," which is most rocks in Pennsylvania. Well, the first night when he picked us up, we went to his house. We were standing on the back porch. His brother and them were having a birthday party. And I started talking about all the stuff that we'd found on the trail. And I said, first day we found a camera. And I mentioned some other things. And then, as you remember, Nanner got on the trail in Bland, and we met him first time in Pearisburg. He came down and started hiking with his good friend Alkaline and Bird. And I started saying, well, when we left Bland, I went over this little overlook, and as I was coming back to where Marcia was, I said, "Look, I found me a pair of shades sitting here," and I put them on. She took a picture, and I put them on pack. Never wore them again, but I carried them for some reason. And he said, "So you found them at that little overlook, sitting on a rock, and they had feeler written on them?" And I said, "Yeah." And they were his shades, which was amazing. Brought us together. He ended up looking at us like his trail parents, and I had his shades and carried them all that way, and he ended up hiking with us. And I had the shades the whole time we were hiking. And then he ends up letting us stay with him for 5 days with him and his family, and he slack packed us. And so that's just amazing. And then the other thing that happened, one of the days he was slack packing us, it was from not Port Clinton, from, I'm trying to think.
Wind Gap.
To Wind Gap, from where you climb up the mountain.
Lehigh.
Palmer. Lehigh Gap. That's right, Lehigh Gap to Wind Gap. We were slack packing. And we were going along, trying to hurry to get to meet Nanner. No hiking poles. And the little green bushes are on the side of the trail. First thing we saw was a porcupine in front of us going up the trail, which is cool. But the next thing was I heard this rattle, jumped up in the air. Because I know it was a rattlesnake, but I didn't see it. So I just jumped up in the air, yelled, came back down. She seen we were sitting on the side of the trail and said, "It bit your boot." And so it struck my boot when I jumped up in the air. Scared her to death. She comes, "So we're going home right now." And I said, "I didn't bite me. I'm all right." And we took pictures of it, and we took this big stick, and the first stick I got, it broke it in half. So I got another one, threw it over in the woods, because a 70-year-old man, Trog, was behind us, and we didn't want him to get bit, because that snake wasn't moving from that sunny spot. And so we come along to this road, and we're no water. It's all dry. I mean, there's no water nowhere. We're thirsty. Just had a rattlesnake encounter. We come to this road, cross over, get back on the trail, and none other than Lab Rat was stretched across the trail. He had 2 full bottles of water and said, "Y'all just missed it. Somebody's here." And they gave me water, filled up my bottles. And one's for me and one's for Trog. And I said, "Yeah, he's behind us." And we moved to Rattlesnake, and we told him that story. And we thought he'd give us a little water to get to the shelter or something. He offered us absolutely nothing. So we didn't like a Lab Rat again. And so we went on to the shelter and went down to get water. And there's a guy already stopped for the day. And he said, "There's no water, but I got a whole bag of water here." He said, "You're all welcome to a bottle each to get to the Wind Gap, and I can get there in the morning." And so he shared his water, and we made it to Wind Gap to meet Nanner. But that was 2 incidents with Lab Rat that he laughs about it now, and we joke with him and kid with him, but he said, "I never thought to offer you all no water or nothing." And so I always bring it up, and he always gets mad. But we're good friends now, and it was just a funny thing. But it wasn't too funny with the rattlesnake strike, because by the grace of God, I wasn't bit, because I'd have never made it out of there. So thank y'all for joining us, and we'll continue on our stories from Delaware Gap on up to Katahdin.